Hey everyone, Drew Murray here from D20 Advice. I apologise for the background and a little. Okay, I'm getting things sorted out. But in the meantime, I am needing to play catch up a little bit because this hashtag my 30-day world thing is an actual 30-day thing. So let's do it. For those of you that don't know and are catching up, kind of like what I am, Absolute Tabletop Terrors guys, they are doing a Kickstarter. It's already funded, which is great, but part of the Kickstarter campaign was this hashtag that they put forward, was this hashtag My 30-Day World, giving everyone an opportunity to pitch their homebrew world. And I think that's a fantastic idea. I think it's really good. Some people that I like have already come forward with their thing. Yesterday, I did a live stream to get my day one part of this out, not knowing for sure if there was 30 days of it or if it was just referring to the Kickstarter having 30 days to get backed. But no, apparently it is 30 days of a thing. So day two is, what is the name of your campaign world and why is it called that? So my campaign world is called Taihun. At least that's the name that I've stuck with throughout the entire lifespan of it. The reason for that is that's the name of the pantheon. The pantheon of the world of Taihun is the Taihun. Other beings can have power on a scale of a god, but the gods themselves are a special thing. The gods are a science fiction element in my campaign world. They are beings in a spaceship at the edge of the universe, influencing events on the prime material plane barely. They are connected and in contact with the celestials of the game world, and that's who they work through. But the Celestials have their own agendas as well. They kind of listen to the Taihun mostly because of the power that the Taihun kick out, and just out of a bit of respect for that. But there's no actual power that the Taihun wields in the universe with any agency. The Taihun are basically these 10 people trapped aboard a spaceship, this spherical spaceship, trying to stop mind flayers. They're trying to stop the Illithid incursion, this interdimensional extraterrestrial force trying to break through into this universe. And they are losing the fight. They're losing the fight because the natural world, the Feyweave, the magical fabric of the universe that's linking multiverses and all sorts, this is trying to break through into the regular universe through no malice. It's just life, and it's trying to spread as much as it can. Mind flayers are alive, and the psychic, they feed on life. So if the Feyweave breaks through into the universe more and more, which it is doing, it's breaking through, but when it breaks through into the world, it usually does so in the form of like crystalline structures. So you get these crystal towers which have great magical power, and you can break a bit off, and you've got a magical crystal as a focus for arcane magic, so divine. So the Feyweave is trying to break through, and the Illithids are able to draw on this. It's attracting them towards our universe. So the Taihun have their hands full. They are trying to stop the spread of the Feyweave. They don't really have any designs or intentions on the people on the planet. They don't have any idea that by stopping this, they are stopping magic, which they would be doing. By removing the Feyweave, magic would die out, which would also result in several genocides. The elves and dragonkin are all linked to the Feyweave. Gnomes as well have an instinctive link. So if the link with the Feyweave was ever severed, they would enter a sort of like drow-like state of being separated and angry because of it and have to fill that void with something. And I imagine them turning a bit like the Dark Eldar in 40k. if that ever happened. But anyway, so the Taihun have always been, to my mind, the silent protagonists of the DM side of the story. They represent the dungeon master. They have a vague idea of how things are going to go, and they understand that there are great forces at work. But that doesn't matter to the people on the ground, and the people on the ground don't really matter to the grand scheme of things. I wanted to sort of reflect that in the campaign world. So you can have fantastic adventures, and as the Dungeon Master running this campaign world, you should give your players great adventures, but the universe doesn't care about the adventurers. I juxtapose this when I'm running the campaign world to have the importance of the player characters be front and center during gameplay. Players can go from pauper to king. They have a great deal of agency. They can affect the world on a political scale or just on a small scale. It's you as the Dungeon Master's job to facilitate that and to facilitate all things in between. You can even become a member of the Taihun, which of course means that you'll be stuck on a spaceship at the end of the universe, unable to affect things. But that's not what the people here understand. The people in the fantasy world, they don't understand that the gods aren't here. That's right. They just understand that the gods affect things. I've seen clerics, I've seen paladins. They do things, magic things. I've seen people just swear to belong to the Taihun, and they get power. So it must be real. So that's why I call my campaign world Taihun. It's after that. The word Taihun, I came up with Taihun and the Taihunospheron, which was the combination of the spaceship that they were in, and also because I like messing about with sort of psychedelic imagery and stuff, there's also the Taihunospheron inside the Taihunospheron. So that you've got this massive spherical spaceship floating in space, and then inside the spaceship is this sphere. It's this magical spinning metal ball thing that holds the Taihun's power, and so it's using this as a conduit that you can transfer the state of being one of the Taihun, from one person to another. It can grant you like special magic powers and abilities and things. So if you were to ever get your hands on the Taihunospheron, you would have great power. But one of the cool things is that Taihunospheron inside the ship is the ship, and it's inside the ship. I like messing about with dimensionality and stuff. So yes, if you were to break the Taihunospheron, you would break both of them. They would both be broken. And yeah, that's just. But yeah, the word Taihun is mostly just a corruption of the word ten. When I first set out with this, I knew that I wanted a pantheon of gods. I had aspects to the gods that I wanted and positions, but I didn't have names. And names was something I was always really bad at. So I simply declared that people worship the pantheon and no individual gods. So you could worship the whole pantheon of 10, and you would get the powers of all 10. You can choose to focus as a worshipper. So it was version 3 and 3.5 that we started. You would pick a couple of domains. So you would choose your line of focus, but the pantheon covers everything. It's like worshipping the Greek pantheon or the Egyptian pantheon or the Norse pantheon. You're not just going to one god. You are going, right, you guys, I worship all you guys. So yeah, that's where that came from. It's just corruption of the word 10, because I didn't want to just say, you worship the 10 gods. They don't have a name just beyond the 10. I needed it to be more fanciful and have a bit of flair. So the Taihun, Taihun, and then the Taihunospheron, the Taihun sphere, the sphere of the 10. It's not very good. I'm not claiming that it's very good, but it sounds good now that there's been enough time and disconnect from when I established it, that it sounds like this cool mystical thing. But yeah, so that's why my campaign world is called Taihun, because I was crap at naming things, and I was still crap at naming things when I had to name the campaign, so I just called it after the gods of the campaign, which barely featured. They were important in my mind. They're important to the cosmology, but the nature of the gods aren't terribly important to an individual playing the game. But I do feel that the nature of them speaks a lot to how I think about games and running the games. So Taihun, completely separate and abstracted, still an influence, and that's how I treat most of history, because that's how most of history is. The ancient Romans don't have a great deal of influence over us now, but a lot of things that they did do have an effect. Do we blame the Romans for things going wrong now? No, because that would be silly. So, by the same token, you don't blame the Taihun for something bad happening here. They just don't know and they don't care and they don't really have the ability to affect things outside of their ship. They're just like kicking out this wave of radiation, this power that's going out into the universe, and people are just tapping into it. So yeah, it's kind of like that incidentality of it. But yeah, that's why I named my campaign that thing. Tomorrow will be day 3, and we'll deal with another thing, which I'll look at in a minute, because I kind of want this to be a bit spontaneous as well. So I'll go and have a look and record the next one. See you later.